Welcome to the Family Law Frontline.
Hello and welcome back to the Family Law Frontline with Fedor Kozlov. Fedor is the founding partner and chief litigator at the law office of Fedor Kozlov, PC. With over a decade of experience in Illinois family law, he handles high-stakes cases involving custody, property division, domestic violence, and complex divorces. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're talking about what happens when one spouse tries to hide money or assets during a divorce, and how Illinois courts find the truth. Fedor, welcome back.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. What generally raises the first red flag to you that something isn't adding up financially in a divorce case?
Well, generally, what raises the red flag? So many things can raise the red flag. Uh, the usually any divorce procedure starts with the filing of a petition for dissolution of marriage, and after that, people exchange what's called financial affidavit. So, financial affidavit is a document where it's a very easy document where you list, but very important. You list all of your income. You list all of your credits, debts, um, assets, houses, cars, 401ks, stock market, bitcoins these days, very popular, things like that. And then you exchange it with the other spouse. Um, the financial affidavit also requires certain exhibits to be attached, such as tax returns, preferably for several years, business tax returns, personal tax returns, bank statements, and other supporting materials such as W-2 forms or 1099s. You exchange those, and that's pretty much the starting point uh, when you review other person's financial um, situation. Now, for Illinois is a guideline state, and division of property. Presumably, everything is divided according to the law. Everything is divided 50-50. Uh, Everything is divided 50-50. Not everything. The marital assets divided 50-50. What's marital? What are the marital assets? Marital assets are the things, money, property that you earn, debts that you earn during the marriage, and that's what marital assets are. Now, if a person, so it depends on the length of the marriage, right? If these people newlyweds, uh, you might not know what he or she making, but if people live together for a considerable period of time, 15, 20 years, you know him, she knows you, no matter how uh, much you try to hide your assets, it's always discoverable. And what I always tell clients, you can never lie. Uh, you can never lie in court, and you can always explain, but don't lie. If you caught lying, there'll be significant consequences. I'm not even talking about perjury and anything like that. I'm talking about a judge losing faith in you, and it goes in your character. And now you can be even sanctioned for lying on your financial affidavits and other things. If you made this, so I have this case right now. People were married for 9 years. They don't have much of assets, like nothing like that. But he just before getting divorced, he transferred $75,000 from his savings account, his own savings account. By the way, it doesn't matter. People pay so much attention. Well, his name is on the title, my name is on the title, my name is on the bank account, her name is not on this bank account. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's marital income. If you got this during the marriage, and it's not a gift, and it's not that you saved before you got into the marriage, it's marital. So my guy transferred $75,000 into his bank account to buy a new car from the auction. Well, uh, he asked me to hide it, like not to disclose it. Well, first of all, I can't. I'm not going to lose my license for not disclosing it. And second of all, even people who doing it pro se, you should disclose it anyways, because it's not like it's not a huge science. Uh, to find this money, you send a subpoena to the bank, and here you go. Here's the $75,000 transfer. You can explain it. You can even probably offset it with some money that she spent for herself. But if you hide it, you're in a big trouble. That's number one. Number two, um, people, I get it. Why people, I get it from personal sort of perspective when a couple resides together and let's say he gambles, right? He goes to casinos, spends too much money, and she wants to protect her money, and she transfers this money into her own account, and then she sends it to her daughter who lives out of country, something like that. Well, that's called dissipation of marital funds. It's not, when the family is together, nobody cares, right? You do whatever you do, whatever you want. You're a family. When people get divorced, that's when your business is my business, and in terms of lawyers, and I will get into it, and I will, if it's on the other side, I will ask, well, what happened to this $100,000? Well, I transferred. Well, now where they are? Well, I transferred to my daughter. Well, it's called dissipation of marital assets. Just like I can compare it to bankruptcy law. I don't practice bankruptcy, but I know that trustees always ask you, did you sell anything within a certain period of time before filing for bankruptcy? And if you did, they can return this money back. Pretty much the same thing here. If you ship this money away, and if you didn't disclose this money, if you open this corporation in the name of your brother, but with the funds that were earned during the marriage, it's called dissipation of marital assets. You'll have to bring the money back, and you will have to reimburse the estate. So what happens when you file for divorce and you deal with this kind of situations, it's called status quo. What's status quo? Well, first of all, it's a famous rock band. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that
Well,
one actually. I don't, I know music.
yeah,
I don't know status quo.
status quo. Yeah. Second of all, it's a standard where everything has to be frozen. Like, you literally cannot spend or use money for any purpose whatsoever. We had a case, and it's, when I'm asked to tell some story about cases like that, it's usually about people hiding money or spending money outrageously on something or someone. So in that case that we had many years ago, husband fell in love with someone else, and he started spending a lot of money on his girlfriend. So the wife got upset. She filed for divorce, and the husband was ordered uh, that he cannot spend more than $5,000 from a certain credit card, which was also marital, for his needs. So he cannot go on expensive vacations. He cannot buy a car that costs too much money. He cannot make a down payment on something, $5,000 a month. So what he does, he leaves the court and buys for his girlfriend some kind of Chanel purse that costs $25,000. Well, first of all, I don't know what kind of purse it has to be, but I am a
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, that's a lot of, okay, never mind. We'll just
What
gloss over that one. Yeah, we're on the
$25,000?
same page there.
Yeah, that's fine. But he completely violated the court order. The court order says that you cannot spend, and that's a marital fund. So out of this 25, besides the point that he violated the court order that tells him $5,000 per month and that's it, he goes and spends $25,000. So he just wasted $25 of marital assets, out of which 50% belongs to his wife. The other the other case that I have right now, uh, and we have a lot of case law about it in the state of Illinois, deals with uh, transfers right before filing for divorce, and it's called intra-family transfer. So I'll explain what it means. In my case, a wife transfers stock in various stock options to her parents, and it's a significant transfer. Let's say it's $500,000 worth of stocks, and it's called intra-family transfer. She transfers. She doesn't transfer it to anybody outside of the family. It's still within the family, and is it legal? And that's what the husband right now we're within the divorce, and the husband filed petition against not only her but the parents as well. It's called fraudulent transfer, was intent to defraud. They claim that it was the parents previously made a loan to the family, but then they forgave it and then they sent it back. So, and the issue is not decided yet, because now not only husband and wife is involved in this, but also the parents has to have their own attorneys because of the conflict of interest, and now they have to prove, the plaintiff has to prove whether or not this transfer was made with intent to defraud. um, and that's one of the things that people do quite often by making all these transfers, creating college funds, creating other things. And but most common, especially if you're a business owner, with the businesses, it's a different question. So question number one is the business is a marital asset, right? So if you think about it, usually people have small corporations. What is a small corporation? It's all these stores, all these offices, doctors, lawyers, shops, whatever. It's all small business. And if you open it, you don't trade it on the market. So a share in a small business pretty much doesn't cost. It's not valued too much. What's valued is the so-called goodwill, and the whatever you have in your store. So it can be, if you have a trucking business, it's your trucks and trailers. If you have a store, it's whatever equipment that you have there. If you have a whatever it is. The question here is becomes interesting if, let's say, we're talking about professionals. If we talk about doctors, right? A doctor have a license, and he is married to a woman that doesn't have a license. She cannot run this business. She's not licensed doctor, but he is. He got this license before he entered into the marriage, so it's his. It's not like there were some cases when people would get their licenses and the other spouse would actually pay for the make contribution towards the education, and then once he graduates he leaves her. That's a question, if he has to reimburse her. uh, the answer is no. But there was quite a few cases on this. But now he paid for his own license. He opened his own business. He invested this money into the business, and then he's getting married. And they've been married for 20-25 years. Is this a marital asset? The question is no. Okay, because he opened this business right before he married somebody. By the way, there are a lot of cases and a lot of consultations that we're making when people live together, they have kids together, and he or she buys a house a month before they got married. And now, 20 years down the road, they divorce. Is this house a marital property? Usually, the presumption that it's not a marital property, even though it was purchased in contemplation of the marriage, but still it was purchased before the marriage. But then we still look at the money that the people spend on this and stuff like that. And then if a house is refinanced during the course of the marriage, then it's a marital property. But going back to our good doctor, if he graduates from school, gets married, and opens the business. Is this business a marital property? Yes, this business is a marital property. How much this business worth? Well, if you look at it from the doctor's perspective, probably a lot of money. This is his creation. This is something that he's doing day to day, and this is something that he's licensed to do. His clients, like you, Kevin, you probably have your own doctor, right? You're not going to
Yeah.
go to any doctor. You're going to go to the doctor that you know.
Right.
So that's called goodwill. Now, what about his wife? Well, for she's not licensed, first of all, so she cannot run this business. Can she get 50% from this business? Maybe. But how do you value this business? And that's a huge question when we talk about hiding the assets, what's the asset is really worth? Like if it's something that you can touch, like you can $50, $50,000, $100,000, you get it. Like yes, so it's an asset. What if we're talking about an asset just as a business, right? And that let's say this doctor transferred this business to his brother, who is also a doctor. Now it's called hiding an asset. But what? How much? How can you appraise it? Like where you go to? Who do you? How you put the market value on this particular business? And they remember that during divorce, usually during divorce, that's when we talk about assets. Because if you're not married, by the way, all of this doesn't matter. Like
Mm.
I have so many upset people or people that I upset because they come in and they say, "Well, I lived with this guy for 40 years, but were never married." Well, guess what? Um, Common law marriage is not somewhat recognized, but usually not. And it doesn't matter how much you contributed towards this person's success and his life and what you did. If everything in his name is his, everything in your name is yours. So it only applies when people married and when people divorced. Like I said, the Illinois is a guideline state. Guideline state means that you can move all these aspects around. Like, for example, if it's a long marriage, maybe this doctor has to pay his wife some kind of maintenance. If he gives her a lump sum, that can settle his assets and his maintenance at the same time, because you cannot get maintenance and the part of this business at 100%. So it's always sort of calculated and valued within the same period of time. Uh, but there are quite a few appraisal firms or receivers. Sometimes you appoint the receiver. So I'll give you another example. Um, we have a case that's going for 3 years now. It's a husband and wife, and they had this trucking business. And within the trucking business, they build an enterprise. So what enterprise means in this regards, they had multiple companies that were responsible to doing different things. So one company was actually running, delivering products. Another company was owned the real estate, the warehouses, and another company owned the equipment such as trucks and trailers. Fourth company was responsible for payroll and employees. All of these companies were assigned to different people. So within this big family, he had one company, she had another, and then the parents were in charge of different companies. Now she goes to Florida for some period of time, and then when she comes back, she recognizes that the company that owned warehouse and collected rent, now they not collecting rent anymore. There's somebody else doing that. So that's hiding of the asset of assets. These are rents that people collect. Uh, there's litigation right now in both family court and chancery court. And chancery is the court that has jurisdiction over things like that when people break out their partnerships and they don't pay money and things of that nature. But that's exactly what this is, because the hiding assets is not only, it's not like you took the money and you don't show it. It's usually when people change the nature of it and like the form of the asset, if it makes sense. Like I was collecting money to pay rent. Now I'm not giving it to this company, I'm investing it into something else. And then once I invested, I earned additional income and I purchased additional equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Now this equipment is somebody else's name, and you can always trace the money, but then you deal with the issue once you uh, got to the point where you think the money went. Now you have to undo all of these things in order to get the marital estate to be reimbursed. And sometimes it's very difficult to do. Sometimes it's virtually impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends. To I'm doing it quite, I think, a long time, and I am always surprised how people living together for a considerable period of time, they plan the divorce ahead of time, and those are very difficult then to handle if you're on the other side. If a person planning to get divorced for 3-4 years before the actual divorce, pretty much impossible to find the asset and undo all of these fraudulent transactions
Right.
in order to bring the bring this family back. And this happens all the time. It happens when a guy is the one who is working and bringing the company, building the business, and she is taking care of the kids. She is the one who is responsible to, take the kids to school, take the kids to extracurricular activities, take the kids to doctors. Everything's fine. Everybody, they celebrating Thanksgiving and New Year's and kids' birthdays, and they go to vacation until one point of time when he tells her, honey, I don't think I love you anymore, and I think we need to file for divorce.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, he already fixed everything. Everything is, he moved the money, he moved businesses, and it's really hard to prove. How did you hide assets? People usually don't hide assets during the process of the divorce because it's very easy to find out where did you put the money. People usually prepare for divorce.
Well, interesting stuff, Fedor. That is it for today's episode of the Family Law Frontline. If you're facing a divorce and concerned about financial transparency or hidden assets, visit lawyer-il.com to connect with Fedor Kozlov and his team. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review. We very much appreciate it. Fedor, always love chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.